What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to do a little hardware review of the Nintendo Switch OLED. This is going to be pretty brief, but I'm just going to be talking about my thoughts after using it for a couple weeks. Figure maybe someone out there might find this information useful because I've used every other Switch model, and this is the one I have now. I sold my V1 and V2. Sold my V2 for this model. Or towards it anyway. So I didn't have to pay too much for this, which is great. I've also had a Switch Lite, and I really enjoyed that as well. And I'll talk about the things that I like about this particular model and some things that I don't. Mostly in comparison with the other Switches. So if you're on the fence about which Switch to get, I've used them all and maybe I can be helpful. This video is not going to have any fancy lighting or editing or anything like that. It's just going to be me talking and showing you some gameplay and the unit itself. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This is the Switch OLED. This is the screen, and it is the best handheld screen I've ever used by far. It's better than any portable handheld gaming device that I've used. It's better than any smartphone screen that I've used. It is a joy to look at. It makes all your old games pretty fun to play again, just to see how they look. And right now you're seeing a little game called Astral Chain, which I just got from GameFly. I've been using their service lately again to try out some games that I normally wouldn't buy. Like I didn't want to pay 60 bucks for this one because I wasn't sure about it, so I'm just trying it out. Pretty cool game so far, but it's really striking on this screen because there's a lot of like deep blacks and stuff. And if you don't know anything about OLED screens, the blacks basically are just not lit, and it's just like having your screen off in those sections, which is really cool. And the colors are just really vibrant, and there's different color settings. So actually I can't show you that because that would show you my details in the system, like my IP address and stuff. But if you go to the system menu over here, you can switch out the color scheme to vivid or default colors. So right now it's on vivid. If you put it on default, it'll just be like normal colors. So you don't have to worry about like the colors being really unnatural or oversaturated. You can change that if you want. So anyway, the screen is absolutely night and day better than any other Switch. If you put it side by side with the V2, yeah, it's a no-brainer. This is the one you're going to want to hold. The one you're going to want to look at a lot longer. The V2 actually had a horrible screen, I thought. Worse than the V1. I actually liked my V1 screen. The V2, that had like a blue tint that I could just never get over, and I just really didn't like looking at it. There was something off about the new tech that they used for that screen. They did change it. And I don't know all the details or whatever, but yeah, I don't recommend that one. If you're going to buy a Switch, if you don't have a Switch yet, and you want to be able to dock your Switch to a TV, play it on the TV, then this is the one to get. Although I have another solution for those who have more money or are a bit more patient. I think the most ideal way to play Switch might possibly be to buy like the cheapest, crappiest used V1 Switch or V2, whatever you can get cheapest, and just drop that into the dock and never take it out. And then you use a Switch Lite to play on the go. Because the Switch Lite has way better buttons than this thing. This is one of my gripes about the Switch, and it's something that I wish Nintendo would change. They haven't yet. I don't know if they ever will, but they will not change the Joy-Con buttons. I don't know what their deal is with these clicky things that are hard to press and hurt your thumbs after a while, but they won't update them. You know, there would be nothing detrimental about making these things as squishy and loose as the Switch Lite buttons. In my mind, I can't see any downside to that. They just won't do it. And so the Switch Lite, when you pick that thing up and you hold it in your hands and play on it, it feels better because of that, in my opinion. It is smaller though, so you might get other hand cramps. You might get like wrist cramps and stuff like that. But you can buy a grip for that sort of thing. With this, a grip isn't going to help you if you don't like the buttons themselves. It might help with hand cramps and stuff like that, but this is a problem for me because I just, for some reason, you know, these buttons just hurt my thumbs a lot. And so what I'll do is I'll set this thing up with the new kickstand. It actually makes it so much better, so much easier to do this. And I'll set it up as basically a portable TV. And then, if I can find it around here, oh, it's right here. I simply use this guy and connect to it, and then I'm good to go. And this, to me, is the most comfortable way to play this thing portably. I don't like to use this handheld unless I'm playing something that really doesn't require a lot of button pressing. But that's just me. Maybe your thumbs won't hurt that much from the Joy-Cons. That's just how it is with me. So the Pro Controller and this thing in basically TV mode is how I play portably. And with the new kickstand, it makes this just so much better. Like, you can put it in any position you want now. You can go like this, keep it like that, all the way up, and it's not going to fall down like it did before. You know, the other Switches, they had this crappy little kickstand, and it was like maybe this big here, and the thing would just topple over all the time with the slightest nudge. And it really just did not make much sense. Like, it just, the whole tabletop mode just didn't work out very well at all. It only offered one position, and it wasn't a very good position. So now this is just so much more usable as like a portable TV. So, yeah, this is what I'm sticking with. This is what I like the most, is like this and with the controller. But the Switch Lite paired with a regular Switch that's just always docked is totally viable, and it's something that you guys might want to look into, because now there's cloud saves, and it works quite well now. You can play a little bit on your TV, and then you can switch over to your Switch Lite and continue. And it does it automatically now. It didn't used to. So that's really great. And it's an option I might look into if I ever decide I want to get a Switch Lite. But for now, I'm just really enjoying using it this way. And I love this screen. One problem with the Switch Lite is text is really small on that screen. It is a small screen, and it can be a little hard to read text sometimes. And also, if you're playing portably, you just, I was playing games like, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles on that thing, and it was just such a bummer to see that game, such a grand game, on such a small device. So that's one of the things that made me want to stick with this one. Beyond those things that I've mentioned, the sound on this thing is actually a lot better than the other Switch models. It's not amazing. I'm not going to overhype it or anything, but it is better. It is louder. I'll just turn it up here.
Information display. Iris shut down.
It would be helpful if I had another switch that you could hear to compare it to, but I do not currently. Let's try another game here. Hi. So, this is one of the first games I actually tried on the Switch OLED. And it's a really good one to do that with, to experiment with this screen, because there's so much darkness in this game. And the game just pops. I mean, I've never seen Quake look this good before. So like older games are really cool to revisit on this thing. I mean, you're not going to get, you know, the quality of the screen through this camera. It's just not possible. You have to see an OLED in person, but I can guarantee you, you're going to like this screen over any other Switch model. It is a big deal when you're staring at it for, you know, a long time. You want things to look nice, and you don't want your eyes to hurt from either crappy screen tech or just having to squint to see text and things of that nature. By the way, this newly released Quake is awesome, and you should totally get it if you're into these old school shooters. I guess they're called boomer shooters now. I don't know. But I grew up playing this stuff. But anyway, so that's that. That's the sound. That's the screen. Beyond that, I can't comment whether or not the battery life is better than the V2. However, it has been great, and I've not been wanting, you know, more or anything like that. Like, it's fantastic. It lasts me as long as I intend to play that day. I've never had to go out during a session. I just haven't played that much. I don't anticipate ever playing that much in a day in handheld mode. It's a great battery life, and the Switch Lite was the opposite for me. It actually ran out quite a bit, and I had to keep charging it and being plugged into the wall and stuff, and I didn't really like that very much. One of the great things about the Switch is you can just drop it right into the TV, into the dock, and so you can game on the TV while it's charging, and it's just so simple. You don't have to, you know, look around for the USB-C port or whatever to plug the thing in and then stay next to the wall to be able to play. Just drop it and you're good, you know? I like that a lot about it. So anyways, besides that, I think it just has an upgraded storage. It just has went from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigs. So that might be something of interest to you. Most people just get a micro SD card and just stick it in there and forget about it. So for me, that's not a huge deal, but you know, it's something to mention. So I think that about covers it. You know, this isn't the most professional review ever, but it is an honest review. And, you know, I've only got like 28 subscribers on my channel, so I'm not going to lie to you or try to overhype anything. This is just my experience after using this thing for about 2 weeks. I really like it. As Switches go, I think this is the best option overall. I just really wish they had changed these buttons. That's pretty much my biggest gripe. If they had put the Switch Lights buttons on these Joy-Cons, man, that would be so great. But anyways, that's my review. Hope you guys have had an excellent holiday season, and God knows when I'll put out another video, but maybe I'll just see you next year. Peace.